Well, guys, let's go for a ride in the Mustang and talk about why I got rid of the ZL1 for this car. So let's do it. We want to start in quiet mode because, well, we don't want to be too loud. We're actually going to go mail something, so that's part of the reason why we're heading out today. Looking a little low on gas, but that's okay. Let her warm up here a little bit, and then we'll head off. Okay, so why did I get rid of the ZL1? Well, there's quite a few reasons. One is price, and there's a couple different subcategories because of price. Two is mods, which kind of goes hand in hand with the price. And three is, well, responsibility. So let's talk about price across the board. My monthly payments were almost $800 a month. Now, mind you, I bought the car, for those that don't know, it already came with a lot of mods. It came with catless headers into a full Corsa exhaust. It had a 2.3 upper pulley. It had a cold air intake, spark plugs and wires, obviously. It had quite a bit of money done put into the car already, but I had to get it retuned by Shane Hines out of St. Louis, and the car ended up making 653 rear wheel horsepower on a 90-degree day with E40 mix, because it did have a flex fuel sensor on there as well, which was pretty good. So the car was making about 750 crank, for those that know those kind of numbers, which was great. But the next step to that car to try to make it a 9-second daily driver was going to be cam and more fueling, because the fueling in those cars is absolutely atrocious. The stock fueling is just terrible. You need a low side, high side, be it a cam, and it was going to end up being another $7,000 plus right off the bat to try to make, I don't know, 750 wheel horsepower. And that is touching into the 9-second ranges because the cars only weigh a little over 3,800 pounds. I did some mods to that to kind of lower the weight a little bit. So it would have been on its way to 9 seconds, maybe even 9 seconds in perfect DA on a perfect 9 on a perfect launch. But there was still a little bit more work to be done. So it was kind of getting expensive. So that's one thing. Modding ZL1s is extremely expensive. The goal of this channel is to have a 9-second daily street car. Doesn't matter the brand, clearly, because I've had a Hellcat, I've had the ZL1, and now I have this Mustang GT. Now, the next thing on price is monthly payments. This car has over $20,000 worth of mods when you factor in installation, you know, labor and tuning. And I got this car out the door for like $45K, and I lowered my monthly payments by $100. So that sounded like a pretty good idea to me. And Mustangs they're fine, okay? You know, I'm not a brand loyalist or anything. This was actually initially the first car I wanted to get back in 2019, and I settled for a Camaro SS at the time, but that's neither here nor there. The price was right on this car. Only like look at the mileage. I don't know if you can see that, 11,855. The mileage is great. The price was great, and I lowered my monthly payments by $100, and my insurance was lowered by $20. So $120 savings sounds like a win-win. And then finally, for price, overall, when you put all that stuff together and how cheap it is to mod these cars, because now I've got a good basis with this car. I need to get it retuned on 93 just to make sure that the tune is shipshape. It runs. I haven't had any problems for 4,000 miles-ish, but it does need an E85 tune. I have the fueling capabilities for that, so that's not really going to be that expensive to add 100 rear wheel horsepower. We should be eclipsing close to 800 wheel. But I'm getting married at the end of September, and I thought it just was financially responsible to not have a huge car payment and a pretty high insurance payment as well. So saving money on that aspect, being a little bit more responsible as an adult, and having, you know, a wedding coming up was also the right move. So the price overall, with those things I just mentioned, is definitely one of the reasons why I got rid of the Camaro ZL1. Now, number two, I would say, is falling back on the mods. It's just extremely expensive to mod a ZL1. If you're gonna dive into that game and you want to pay to play, be prepared to spend like $50,000. Now, of course, I know a lot of people are gonna say, well, just add meth. No, I'm not. Meth is like it's like shortcuts. This is a daily driver. Meth is not the call, in my opinion. It never will be. If you use meth in your cars, fine, that's great, good for you. That when that pump goes out eventually, so does your motor. So that can't be, you know, that can't be argued. It's a true thing. It actually does happen. No car that's a daily driver should be using meth as not only a cooling type of fuel, but a fuel in general. So not on a daily driver, absolutely not. So it would be extremely expensive to have a 9-second ZL1. Modding that platform, starting out full bolt on the 85 is great, but if you want to push it farther than that, be prepared to take out damn near a home equity loan. So that's, you know, that's part of the thing. Number 2. Number 3, I've already basically touched on it. Responsibility, getting married, need to be responsible. A lot of parts, honestly, are available for the Mustang, and everything just fell into place at the end of the day. This car should be making 700 wheel on 93 the way it is now, but I'm not so sure. But you can kind of see why, yeah, I would have probably gotten a Pro-Charged P1X Mustang GT2 if it's a lot cheaper, damn near a brand new car, and had over $20,000 worth of work to it done. The only major things that are going to need to be done to this car is a built transmission, which I always had on my radar for any of the cars I've had. I actually even had to build the transmission on the Hellcat when I had it. The ZL1 was something I was eventually going to do, is build the transmission on that, and I was already prepared to build the transmission on this. And then if we go far enough without breaking anything, I want to get a built block. I want to build the block. Either build this block or get a fully built block for like 11K, somewhere around there, so we can really push the horsepower in this car. And I don't think getting 1,000 crank is going to be too hard. I think when we get the E85 tune, we'll probably be just about there. You know, if we're over 800 wheel, we're just about there. 1,000 4 digits to the crank. But if I want to go 1,000 wheel, which is like 1,100 plus crank, then we're gonna have to need a built motor. So that's the plans for this car overall. Of course, anything could change. I've had 3 different cars in the last 3 years, so we'll have to see what happens. It's not that I get bored with them, I just hit a wall. I'm financially ready to drop money into this car to make an absolute monster. These platforms are fantastic. There's a lot of parts out for it. There's a lot of ways to make these unique and different than most of the Mustangs on the road. I like the fact that it kind of has, you know, I would say a stockish somewhat look to it. Like, unbeknownst, people wouldn't really think anything of this car until they really try me, you know. So but those are the main reasons why I got rid of the ZL1 for this Mustang GT. So just want to kind of keep it short, simple, do a little ride along, kind of talk about why I got rid of the ZL1, because that car, I'll be honest, it was amazing. It was an amazing car, but I do miss aspects of it, but not everything. But that can be, you know, a video for another day. So if you got any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd be happy to answer them. And smash the like button if you haven't done so already, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.